saying if your name is Cletus, what you do is you take your old wiper switch, you hook it in on your dash, and then you just use some rubber bands. You put it right over the column. You don't worry about turn signals, just kind of do that. Yep. That's gonna have to go back in the original one. I just changed it when I had this whole apart. This is a pain in the ass though. You gotta drop down the column. You have to take the ignition switch off, because I was looking at rebuilding tilt columns. You'll see when I do this. There's no spring on the actual gear on the rack like it is on a tilt column on a standard column. All your spring tension when you go forward on the key is from the ignition switch. You hear it? That's the ignition switch giving them pressure on the key, not the rack on the tilt. Has that weird little crazy spring. I learned that lesson when I took this apart, because all that pressure comes up and it just blows the whole column apart and pieces go everywhere. I'm trying to see where those bolts are to the ignition switch. I don't even know where they are. That's the high beam wiper switch somewhere down here. It's not, oh, there it is. They keep calling it banana clip. It's our harmonica clip, they call it. Looks like a harmonica, kind of. So that gotta go. That's for the turn signal and the horn. It's over there. We gotta take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out. Oh, I hit my leg over there. Look, dented it. Nah, looks like it. And I can get this column down. Worst comes to worst, there's 3 or something bolts over here. There we go, right there. That's how you get the column out. After that's out, when you undo the steering shaft, you can pull this whole thing out if you want. Oh, you gotta take the shifter linkage off too. That's what you gotta do. A lot of work. There's really no order to get this off. I just want to see if I can get this column down and get those 2 screws of the ignition switch. And you want to note the position of the ignition switch and the wiper doobie. I had that all screwed up. The way this, it's like a puzzle how to get the springs on. Not the springs, the screws on, and there's little brackets. Could be a challenge. Maybe I'm motivated to do this because I came back from the junkyard. See people ripping apart cars in the hot heat. And you go, I want to do it. Yeah. There was a nice tilt column in there too. Didn't look so bad, but yeah. I like my non-tilt. Less problems, they'll never go loose on me. The wiper switch is a truly pain in the ass to replace when it goes bad. And I hope that the screws go into this thing too aren't bad. They could be. Actually, wait, we don't have to loosen this, but yeah, maybe we have to. I don't know. Some video. People don't give people enough credit who do this kind of stuff, because it is not fun doing this in the heat. I gotta get all these 10s off. See, that's what we're after. This screw and that screw. Now that I'm thinking, I probably didn't have to take all this crap out. Block of wood. Yeah, that sucks. You gotta get that tension off though. The tension is what kicks your ass when you take this upper piece off. Because this whole rack, as you're pulling it off, it wants to go this way. And if this rod can't go with it, it gets caught up in the ignition switch and it screws up the whole ignition rack. You want to remember what sandwich is which when you screw with the high beam switch or the ignition switch. So in this case, the ignition switch goes first, and then this piece goes on. See, that hangs on like that. Bam, out. Now the ignition switch is only being held on by this stud over here. Take that stud out, this guy's going to be free floating. And then you can unhooky the rest. Now when that thing's off, you just push up. And now you see the ignition rod free floating. Now when you take this apart, this thing keeps on flying out too. The high beam thing. Put that in last. Yeah, so when you take this apart, it's all gonna go nice now in one continuous piece. So let's go put this arm back on to support it. See those two little metal pieces? These are actually designed to snap or break in an accident. Gives a give. It's supposed to go in a certain way too, I would believe. There it goes on that way. I don't know. I think we screwed up. I just yanked it and it came right off. We have that in another video. The trick is those puller bolts. Don't go crazy on them, because then you want to wrecking it. Man, it is hot in this sun. And then you just pick that little thing out with a pick tool until you get it all out in that main groove, and then you're home free. There we go. Release it. Release the wrench. Yep. And it all comes out at once. Sweet. Oh, we gotta get this one. Boink. Thread this out, thread this out. Yep, get this thing, don't lose it. Get those from the junkyard. Lock plate. Horn button. And what's next? We gotta take this signal out. And there's like 4 little bolts, and then this whole thing comes out, and there's your shitty freaking turn signal switch. One screw is always hidden, so you just gotta pop that down. Forget about your 4-way switch, because that will hold you up. See, this piece of shit turn wiper thing is a bolt going through this way, so you gotta take this whole half off to get to it. Now we got an ignition switch gotta come out, key buzzer, don't break that, and 1, 2, 3, 4 something bolts. Yep, let's get on it. I thought you needed a key to get the ignition cylinder out, but you don't. Not on my model anyway. I just got these 4 screws. If I remember correctly, I think I have to move the shifter down at the same time you put it in. If I remember, because it's still kind of being locked into place. See, there's the pain in the ass part, this rack. You have to put it in a start position. This has to go all the way. You just pull it back, and then you can get that out, and this thing sits between there, and it rides on that little gear over there. It's a pain in the ass to all line back up, but we'll get it. We did it once, we'll do it again. And this is what retains those screws. See, this has to line up with those screw holes. If you don't get that just right, it won't pass through correctly. So that's another cool piece of challenge. And there's that spring over there for the shifter that commonly breaks right there. I forgot these wires are in this little plastic cover, and they go over those 2 little bumps on the side, and then you could take it for a ride. You gotta take that cap off. We could change that, and then try to get this ignition rack back lined up. See, the thing always rotates. It's just a nightmare, because this piece has to go over there. Yep, it's fun. Dude, look at that. The wires are all like burned over here. It seemed like they were getting hot. And then you just have, what is this? 9/16. You take this piece out, you can get this freaking wiper thing out of here. What a nightmare. There's the old piece of crap. This is like $1 million job. Now this is the part where you just want to go crazy, because this rack goes this way. It always gets caught up. It's like perfect right here. That's its only spot where it's perfect. I have it upside down again. Shit. This has to go up. That little pin at the end goes like that. meshes with that gear. There's a little spring that keeps the tension, but this is a little locking plate over here, so this you have to take off, I believe. Then you sandwich all this crap over here, and then you have your pin lock thing that's somewhere over there, and that catches the end of that little hoovy over here. It's all greasy because I greased it all up like crazy, but that was our challenging point years ago. And then this thing moves too around, so maybe I'm gonna stick some screwdrivers down there when I'm centering it, because this thing goes all crazy and you gotta line it up. I don't even know what that does. It's just a support, I think. So when you tighten it down, it takes the pressure. But we got that. Get a good gander at how this goes. Piece of crap thing goes in like this. I believe it's the largest slot. It stops over there. There's actually some play in this thing. Probably I got a new gear. One day this gear's gonna go bad. I don't know if that's bad or not. Take it apart again if it breaks. This is correct because when you put the key in, bam bam, you have to test it with the cylinder before you play around with it. Looks good. Just a pain getting it all back together. I don't know if it's worse than a tilt column. Might be, I don't know. This camera's getting so greasy. Right there it has to go. The big flat has to go in the big flat of the rack, or else you're done. Just gotta keep fighting with it until it looks good from the side. Before I wasn't going into lock position. If you're one tooth off, this thing is totally just messed up. But don't do that unless you put your little lock poker in first, like we just had to do, and have to line it back up. There's a little spring retainer that goes on the face of the spring, not the metal side. And make sure the retainer, there's a cut in it. It's not on the open side of that rack, or else it will fall through. I didn't show it. Don't care. Don't care. It's not an easy job, but for a first timer anyway. Now this thing goes what? It holds the whole assembly like that. There's this little hole over here. Like that. And that's what keeps it all together. I don't know how it busts apart. When you take it apart, it always busts apart. And it's such a challenge to get back together. You would think it'd be the other way around. But no. That boggled my mind though years ago. And then again, just fish all that crap in. You're almost home free. I got it. I believe this is correct right here. Oh man. So the deal is you gotta take this thing out again like I did last time. I don't know why it won't go together when it's on an angle. It just doesn't want to go. Everything has to be resting flat. And then you can put your whole ignition system in. And you leave the cylinder in, remember, because or else it's going to blow apart. You tighten those 4 screws down. You have to pull your little shifter knob down a little bit. You hook this up like so. It has to look the same. Ignition switch first. Then the little other thing. It's all working good. Now I just have to put the turn signal switch back in. The lock plate and all that other shit. And this little plastic piece. My battery's running dead because we made too many videos today. Alright, so, whoa, else have been working at night. Lost a 15mm bulb. Maybe someone stole it. Right there, I had one in my hoard though. Can't find it. Yeah, not easy to put back together, but we did. Oh, this thing turns nice now. Heck yeah. Turn signal. Turn signal. I don't think I put the high beam wire on. No, I didn't. That's the thing hanging underneath the dash. Horn we gotta put on. We gotta torque everything. That gotta be torqued. Underneath the column gotta be torqued. This is correct. Steering wheel. This I gotta remake that little hash mark. It's getting worn out from all the times I pulled the wheel off. Excellent. Success. And the windshield wipers work. These work so much better, this switch, the original switch, than that Mexico piece of crap. Alright. we got? This weird little clip deal, this wiggly clip. Has to go on over there, but we got to tighten that nut. Should have got some of these at the junkyard. This truck runs terrible when the battery's low. Alright. 15 millimeter, man. Where'd that thing go? I don't know. It's not an easy job, but the deal is you just gotta line that rack up. Line the rack up with that other ignition switch piece on the standard column, and then you got it all set. And there's this too. You can even get the back motion. This for the radio. You gotta make sure all that's lined up correctly. If it's not, you're not gonna have a good day. And the shifter works. Shifter actually feels tighter. I adjusted it a little bit better. Success. That's all we need. Got these little tins on the wall you gotta get to tighten them all up. They're not that big of a screw, but do what you gotta do. If you bump this thing, you're gonna have to adjust it. And I know I did. I should really just make a mark, see how it moves. You have like a range of motion that it can go on. And if it's not correct, when you put the reverse lights on, I found they don't work. Or they stay on. You gotta adjust that, keep on running to the back of the truck. And until it's right. That's good. I can't believe all the 15s went missing. Look for it in the truck. We did a pretty good look through. Did not find anything. Someone stole it. This has a gasket behind it too. That whole column piece it ripped. I was going to make it nice, but I didn't. Sock it on there. Take it off again soon. Yeah, we gotta get the other bolt. Overall, can't complain. We have success. I don't know what the torque spec on is this. My Mitchell On Demand password has expired. I have to go ask someone about that. Maybe I can get me one again. Light keeps going out. Loose socket. Oh yeah. Let's leave it out. Those lights get hot. You burn yourself on it. What else we got? If we did that, we gotta put this little doober over here. I was going, what was that connector last night? Oh, it goes over here for the high beam. Click. Make sure it's seated. And this radio box for that line in deal I put in. No one watched those videos. That has to go. Okay, wiper deal is over here. Wiper switch. It's been off since factory. I don't know what that gets stuck to. What else we gotta do underneath there? Oh, we gotta put this thing on. This is kind of cool to put on. All I usually do is my emergency brake on. I usually put this all the way in first gear. Oh, they made a mark on this bowl. You see, this part moves. And excuse me for the annoying beeping. You gotta deal with it. Moving on. I think I'm just gonna find my mark. So you gotta pull it all the way up to the top. I don't feel like cutting myself. Didn't. I put it in the lowest gear and work my way forward. Well, I had it on the wrong way. That's good enough. The cable has to get looped over this way. You take the column out, it goes to the other side. You can't loop it over the bottom, you gotta loop it over the top. I have no idea what this clip does. It's like supposed to keep that nut on if it backs off. Highly doubt it. Speed up though. Something like that. And now my favorite part. This gets to go back on. And we get to toot the horn that this has a It's like an eighth of a turn kind of deal. You push it in. It's kind of tricky with one hand, but we'll try it. Oh, I'm gonna have to use two hands. Alright, it's locked on. See, this little piece actually has to ground against the button of the steering column. Like that. Works. It always honks when you put it on. Sometimes these things, they get jammed up and then the horn doesn't work. I wouldn't want that. So just putting our cover on. I think we're good. Maybe my 15 fell on that side. Maybe. Stuff gets caught between the door. We're going to have to look for that later. I don't know where it went. Got a couple more though. Some junk cars. We gotta clean all this grease up. Grease everywhere. High beams work. Nice. Nice. Alright. Enough of this. Done. Steering wheel still on the floor. Look at that mask. I got the horde. Anyway, this switch does smell a little bit burned. A little bit. And I thought it was, I don't know, that could have just been a worn mark. This white wire looks a little yellowed, like it got hot. I don't know, but what a waste of time and money. This thing was like 35 bucks. And it's a piece of shit since I put it on. So anyone I recommend changing a GM turn signal switch, test it. Put the little stick in over here like I did in the beginning of the video. Plug it into the harness and test it. Because if you don't, you're going to wind up doing it again. I would have known that this switch was a piece of crap if I put that turn signal stalk in and started rotating all the little speeds and all the whatever, and I noticed that it jammed up over here and it jammed up over there, and it's been like that since 2012 in December. But now it's not. I'm just glad we got it done. Not an easy job. Well, it isn't. I guess it's kind of an easy job. This is a time-consuming job. And a time-consuming job sometimes turns into a not easy job because this goes on and on and on. And you just wonder, when is it ever going to end and be back together? But eventually it will end and it will be back together and it will work. So keep that in mind. And next project, maybe we'll do a tilt column, tighten up those 4 screws and throw on one of these steering wheels.